Hello there, and welcome to Meet the FFUKers. And this is the next episode. And tonight with me, I've got, of course, I have Peter. Hello, Peter.
Hello, guys.
And I also have with me Richard Green. Hi, Richard.
How are we doing, chaps?
And finally, last but not least, I have last season's runner-up, Lester Deeble.
Good evening, all. You all right? How you doing?
Excellent. Okay, cool. Right. Okay, so first up, we are going to talk about the game week that has just been. How did it go? Who did we captain? Where are we in the league? You know, team names, any kind of details you want to give, really. Pete, do you want to go first?
Yeah, why not? I was just. Do we have to talk about last week?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. That was an innocent mistake.
Well, I've dropped in a single week from 8th to 21st. Unfortunately, I took a couple of hits, tactical hits, last week, which didn't pay off, and then suffered the most atrocious week I've had in a very long time. 29 points before the 2 hits.
So it's just to clarify, is that 21 points?
I don't look at it that way, no, because the hits came from last week's points. So
is that how you look at it?
Absolutely. Well, it's the truth.
Okay, and what's your team name? You know, just generally.
Bad company. I'm well set up. I've got a full bench. I'm ready for December. Ready for the FFUK Cup.
Okay, but you had a horrendous game week. Yes?
Awful. Shocking.
Okay, well that wasn't too painful, was it? Okay, Lester, how was yours?
Game week, well, it probably wasn't much better than Pete's, to be honest. Again, took an 8-point hit. Came in with, what did I come in with? 34 points for the week, but then after the hits, 26. Terrible. I feel like this season's basically been chasing it rather than actually being a bit more proactive. But yeah, it's been all right. It's all about progress. It's all about for the future.
And who did you captain?
Oh God, who did I captain? Hazard, which seemed good to start with when everyone else failed, and then he failed too.
Well, it wasn't. It could have been worse. Okay, and Richard, how about your team? How was your game week 12?
Actually, all right, to be fair. I had a bit of a stroke of luck. I took out Austin for an Ichibi, which was a bit of a stroke of luck, and I just did walk up for Hazard and captain Hazard. So on the whole, the subs worked really well in a poor week, and I've jumped to 11th place again. So I'm sitting pretty in the top 10, ready to strike, basically. Team name's Green Giants. That comes from the old Jossie Giants. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Remember that? Anyone? The old TV program? Jossie Giants.
It sounds familiar. It sounds like a pub quiz question that I should know.
Exactly. So yeah, so I was quite happy. I mean, I've never really had a massive week. Which might bring us on to whether to keep Aguero or not, because that is a play you need for a massive week. But pretty good, 51 points last week. I was fairly happy and jumped back just outside the top 10, so I'm fairly happy with that.
Very solid indeed. Very solid indeed. Yeah, so I think I was 42 points, which is sort of bang average, just above bang average, which on a game week where quite a few of my comrades suffered a little bit wasn't the best. So yeah, I bought Defoe and Darun in as because it sounded good, and also I got rid of Dini and Kapue, and when Dini and Kapue scored straight away, it was a bit like, oh no, I've done the wrong thing here. But
the top Kapue.
Well, Darun is like 0.6 cheaper, so that money
How many points has he got this season?
Not to be sniffed at, indeed. So, and I've actually risen to 9th in the league, which is yeah, not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. But on the flip side, unfortunately, my cup tie, I'm about 30 points behind in with one fixture to go. So that one. Are you?
Yeah.
How's your Pete?
So
again,
how's your cup tie, Pete?
My cup tie, I'm not in one, really.
Oh no, you're not yet, are you? Sorry.
No, but it's satisfying to know that you're not even going to be in the Challenge Cup the next week.
Well, I'll be concentrating on the league, absolutely.
Of course.
That's what it's all about.
Actually, the Kapue thing, I just add there, I had a bit of a result of that, because he was my 3rd sub, and Lallana was obviously injured. And Galloway and Calabas, and obviously they both didn't play, so I got a real bonus of 10 bench points to push me up to the 51. So I was well happy with that.
That was quite tasty, Richard. I saw that. Yeah, you had a good week. 51 points.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was say pleased with that.
Yeah, it's very good for the week. Yeah,
very good. I mean, the highest score in the whole league was like 65, wasn't it? I think so. And that's so we should actually say something quickly. Actually, Sean Colohan, Coolers, fair play. He's top of the league as we speak. So congratulations for that one.
Very modest though, not bragging about it.
Yeah, do you know what? Sometimes you just can't say anything. Like I've been a couple of times, and you're just like, you can't say anything. You want to say something, but you can't. You know, you just.
We've all been there.
Well, some of us have.
Well, some talk more than others. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, and anyway, speaking of talking more than others, one person has come up more than anyone else in the last kind of week or so on all the sort of fantasy football forums and all the chat, and it's about Aguero again. We seem to always end up talking about him. And again, we have another Aguero situation. It's we've been joined by Mr. James.
Who's this ugly mug?
Hey!
There's a chap in the corner.
So I suddenly got the ease to get signed in, Christopher, for some reason.
Oh, okay. Well, you're here now. That's all good. We're live, James, so please do not swear.
Don't say F or B.
We've just discussed our game week 12s. Do you remember how you went?
Yeah, beat Mr. Average by 1 point. That's all I'm interested in.
Okay, so about average then, pretty much.
Very much so, and it's been that way for a while.
Okay, so good timing because we just finished talking about that, and we're about to talk about Aguero. So I'll come to you in a minute for your thoughts on the little Argentinian. But yeah, right. So basically Aguero, the situation. We have another one, and the situation now is, well, we're all starting to consider getting rid because there are loads of other options, and. He hasn't really. Well, I'm going to say he hasn't really turned it on in the last few games, but I've got some stats for later. But so anyway, let's have a chat about Aguero. So Pete, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I'm a bit of a victim of that massive benefit of Aguero's 5 goals in one game last season. And that makes him very, very difficult to want to get rid of because he can do that at any time and possibly against any other team in the league, arguably.
He's probably only one of the few players that can as well, I think, in fairness.
Absolutely. Or Jermaine Defoe has done it a couple of times. So I'm going to bide my time with Aguero. The only other option seems to be going Costa, Kane, +1, and I wouldn't want to take Aguero out temporarily. I don't think so.
It's quite tricky to do because of his price. It's quite tricky to do that.
Yeah, unless it's sort of a full overhaul, it's sort of not worth chopping and changing. I think
can you? If you're going to drop him temporarily, it's going to cost you a hit or a couple of hits to get him back in again. So
absolutely,
that's what makes it difficult. You've got to do it, or you just be a chicken and carry with him the whole season.
And you're always going to have to watch a City game knowing that there is a no bananas. But at the same time, there is a flip side. You know, there is an argument for it. And actually, I'm really glad James is on the call because, James, you don't have Aguero anymore, do you?
I took him out 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I think there's a lot of pressure in the group as well. As almost as if you don't have him, then everyone looks sort of bad on you as if you're an idiot for not having him. But it's one of those things, isn't it? If you do have him in with the money that he is and he scores you 2 points, you're thinking that's not good enough. And it's obviously 2 weeks in a row we haven't really converted. So I'm kind of happy with how I am at the moment. I'm scoring all right.
I mean, that's one of those, like, it's a double-sided coin in that he's got a massive ownership. So in that sense, it's important to have him if he does well, but if he doesn't, and you've chosen someone who does, then you reap the rewards, basically.
Yeah.
And I think a number of people did that early in the season that got quite high up from not having him.
Well, he's only scored points, hasn't he? 2 in 6 and 3 in the last 10 games, which suggests he isn't worth 30 million. But
when was his last haul? When did he last do something decent?
It was only about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's been quiet the last couple of games, but if I've got some couple of stats that are just pretty ridiculous. He's got 9 goals in his last 10 starts.
Good stuff.
He's got 110 goals in 141 Premier League starts. Overall this season, he's got 14 goals in 16 appearances. So it's like...
Is that all appearances, including Europe, Chris?
Yeah, that's everything. Yeah, because he's got a hat-trick.
I'm going to say he ain't doing it in the league, though, is he?
In the league, he hasn't done quite as well, but he's still got 9 goals this season.
Yeah, but then how many of them are bunched across, 3 games?
Yeah, exactly.
3 games where he scored 2 in each of them.
And I'll tell you...
Yeah, no, absolutely, but that's the thing. He scores heavy amounts. He doesn't score once. He scores 2 or 3 in a game, or even 4. And that's why he's so scary. That's why he's this big.
And that's a massive point within it, is that it's about captaincy. And so one reason that Coolers is top at the moment is because he's been consistently captaining Costa, who's ticked along with a point.
Yeah.
Whereas Aguero, we've been getting our 4 points every so often, and occasionally a haul.
Yeah.
And even I think it was the West Brom match when Sanchez did quite well that week as well. I didn't captain Aguero because he'd been off form, and so unless you're going to get the benefit of the captain points with those key players, then maybe it's
just looking on.
I mean, look across. Go on.
Go on, sorry.
I was about to say, if you look at him across an average of 3 games, he's probably scoring 18 points across 3 games, which isn't probably great.
It's not worth
No, it's not worth the money. It's not worth captaining. You're wasting it. Whereas with Costa and as Kane's coming up, as I'm sure we'll discuss, they may be more consistently scoring a goal a game, maybe an assist as well, and getting just more for your money and putting the cash elsewhere.
And the other point, of course, is fixtures to come.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
I mean, we'll come on to fixtures, definitely. But, I mean, you've just brought up Kane, Leicester, and that's the next question is, if you're going to get rid of Aguero, which obviously there is an argument for it, no one can say it's not the right decision at the moment because City aren't scoring the goals. He's not scoring the goals at the moment. That could all change. But at the moment, there's definitely an option to get rid. So who are the options to bring in? Obviously, Kane has been mentioned. Who are the other options?
I think the only options are Kane and Costa. They're the only equivalent close enough options you can get. I still think Kane needs another week or 2. I mean, again, terrible fixture this week, so you probably leave him then. But then I think only if he performs then do you think about Kane. And at that point, I mean, my thinking again is Lukaku and Aguero out, Kane and Costa in. That's kind of the most logical. But if you're going to do it, you have to admit it. Don't ever look at the City fixtures again and move on.
I mean, I'll tell you now that if Kane scores against Chelsea on
his price will rocket.
He's straight in my team. But he'll be replacing Lukaku, not Aguero.
Yeah,
I'll double up that way.
What about Zlatan? Is he just not an option anymore?
Never.
No.
Although he's got very good fixtures over Christmas, hasn't he?
Well, Zlatan's fixtures, weeks 16 to 20 are ridiculous. They are ridiculous. It's like
I've got an interesting stat for you on Aguero, Chris.
Go on.
I'm just looking at. I was just thinking back to when we first started this league many years ago, Chris, and that was that year where there was the likes of Gerrard and Lampard were outscoring most strikers. Yeah. Looking at Ibrahimovic, he scored 54 points, which is basically 1 more point than James Milner. If you look at it that way, why on earth would you put Ibrahimovic in?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, because with Ibrahimovic, there is a chance.
53 points.
No, you're right. But if you take 4 games, if you take a 4-game sample for Man United, and they're playing Burnley, Hull, Middlesbrough, and Sunderland, or I don't know who the 4 games, but they're really good fixtures. You need to check your spreadsheet at this point, all you guys. But yeah, if you take those 4 games, he is going to get you must think he's going to get 3 goals in those games and a couple of assists maybe, and therefore
he's 35. He's never played in the Premier League before, and that's it for me for Ibrahimovic.
And he plays for a team that's not an attacking-based team; they're more of a defensive-based team.
Fair enough. We're all signing him off. Okay, Pete, are you retiring Zlatan as well?
I don't think I'd be quite. I certainly wouldn't write him off at all. But I don't.
Are you bringing him in?
He's big money, though, isn't he?
Are you bringing him in, Pete? If that's the case,
he's big money.
Nice haircut, Pete. But
thank you.
Guaranteed.
Bit brutal.
Not sure about the white jumper though.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. Anyway.
Okay, so well, obviously the other option is with Aguero, you downgrade him, and we don't get you know you've already got obviously one premium striker. You downgrade and you upgrade your midfield, and you look at you're getting Hazard, possibly a Hazard, KDB, and Coutinho, or Hazard and Sanchez, or whatever. You can have that good a midfield. So that's the other way of looking at it. Is anyone thinking maybe that is a route to go?
Not for me. I know people, and again, I know people are doing quite well out of 3-5-2, but it's still not for me. I like having
Anichebe in, you know.
Yeah, but then you just give yourself a benching headache. Do you play Anichebe or do you play, you know? Well, it's more. Yeah, you'd have more cash than that.
My views on Aguero. I mean, I'm going to give him a couple of games, but I've looked at the fixtures. I've looked at that fixture spreadsheet that I've sort of put out on the groups. And Chelsea, Man United, and Arsenal all have amazing fixtures in the next kind of like 8 games.
As do Spurs.
Spurs have a good.
When you say amazing, Chris, what do you mean?
Well, okay.
Let me Man City away.
Let's talk about Spurs first of all. They're home to Swansea next, before being away to Man United. But after that, they're home to Hull and home to Burnley. So that means in 4 games, they've got 3 home games. They're out of the Champions League now, so there's nothing to worry about that. You know, they've got 3 of those games. You think with Spurs, if Harry Kane is finding any kind of form, he's potentially on for 5 or 6 goals in those 4 games.
But then the question with that is, do you wait until after the Man United game before you get him in, or are you risking him for the Chelsea, the Swansea, and the Man United when his price could have rocketed before those easy fixtures?
Well, Swansea at the moment look like sitting ducks. I mean, they looked a little bit better last weekend, but previous to that, they looked terrible. And Hull and Burnley, a decent side should pull apart Hull and Burnley, you know?
Yeah. There were only one good player at Swansea, let's be honest.
Yeah, Sigurdsson, absolutely. Yeah, and in terms of the other teams, Chelsea have got really good fixtures. Game week 15 to 19. Man United are 16 to 20, and Arsenal 18 to 23. So coming up basically in the next month, all these teams that are basically rivals to Manchester City are going to have good fixtures. So the temptation to bring
look that far ahead out of interest, Chris? Because I really don't. I look 2 weeks ahead max, because you know how easy form goes up and down.
Pete, do you ever look ahead in the fixtures?
Just a bit.
Yeah,
more than 2 weeks. More than 2 weeks.
Pick out 4 or 6 week little runs. I think it's worth doing.
So my hits last week were for players that had got all right fixtures for the weekend, but that have got good fixtures through December. For that reason, you can wait and see if it works, of course.
But then the other thing I think with now is that you've got to start thinking. Already, you've got to start thinking. If you're thinking ahead, are you thinking about Christmas and who's going to be rotated as well throughout that fixture? So you've got to keep that in mind.
So one of the things I did was got rid of Amat. Got in
rotation's another thing. I mean, you don't have to look at it, but that spreadsheet, when you look at it, James, the color coding on it, it makes it so easy. If they're blue, they're easy. If they're red, they're hard, and it just shows you straight away that you've got certain teams that, like West Ham, have got horrendous fixtures the next 5 games. If you look, if you go and put in a West Ham player, you're just asking for trouble. You know, it's at the end of the day. Some people spend more time on this than others. Some people are sadder than others. But if you're watching this video, you're probably quite sad anyway. So
yeah,
the other person rewatching it.
Yeah, you're rewatching. The other person I just quickly want to talk about in terms of Aguero and is KDB really, because he's the obvious. James, have you got KDB?
No, I've not had him in all season.
I just think he looks like he's going to play every game at the moment for City, and he seems to be more consistent, if anything, than anyone else. Like someone was saying, I think Dad said last night on the group that he's the highest assist giver in the whole league at the moment, and you know. I wonder how owned. I don't even think I don't see that many teams with KDB in.
No, not at all. I think that's gone completely under the radar. Everyone's got Sanchez or Hazard or both of them. I don't see many teams with KDB in at all.
I think it's probably got to stem from his value. At the moment, he's 10.8, isn't he? Which is the only person higher is Sanchez. De Bruyne,
yeah, and
I
I think the other problem with, but then when you look at him, isn't he like the top assist scorer in the league?
Yeah,
He's got the most assists in the whole league, and that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
No one's got him.
He doesn't score many goals, though, does he?
He did all right. I think he got 12 last season. 12 in his first ever season in the Premier League.
Yeah. He did have a good season last year, I've got to say. In fact,
so did Ali, and we haven't got him this season, and Payet.
I think Pep's Man City still needs a bit of settling. Personally, I think they've got a bit of work to do to achieve that consistency.
And also, Pep's never been through a Christmas, has he? So, you know, will he start mixing it up over Christmas with, you know, KDB coming out and?
Well, apparently Pep's made more changes to his side than anyone else in the league, any other team this season. Constantly changing players. It averages something like 2 or 3 a match.
Yeah, I've got things upsetting Aguero as well. I know going back to Aguero, but I mean, you know, last season it was quite a settled side, so they worked. But you just can't odds the City's formation and their midfield. So it is an odd one.
I mean, I don't know if it's relevant at all, but I looked at it at the start of the season, and Pep had a 50% clean sheet rate for his career. And he's only had about 2 with City so far, which I thought was quite interesting. I would expect more solidity at the back.
I mean, everyone said about Pep, well, all the sort of tabloids said, how will he cope, you know, with a proper league, with a team that isn't going to dominate? There's no way City are ever, that side, that squad they've got, they're not going to dominate. They've got some great players, but they're not going to dominate in the Premier League. And he's always had a team that can dominate. And he's at the moment he's not struggling. It's too early to say he's struggling, but you know, I won't be disappointed if he does struggle in the end, really. But maybe hopefully to Chelsea's benefit. But yeah, okay. Do you think we've exhausted Aguero? We've done it.
Yeah.
I mean, the simple question though is everyone keeping him or getting rid of him though? Are you sticking this week with him or are you getting rid of him?
Very good point. Very good point, Lester. Very good point. Okay, what are you doing, Lester?
This week sticking. Last week, if he doesn't score, he's gone.
Okay, final chance. And what about you, Pete?
At least 2 or 3 weeks for me.
Let's see.
And what about you, Richard?
I'm probably leaning towards sticking with him. He's too dangerous to take out at this stage. I think it's too early.
Okay, and what, for a few weeks and then see how it goes?
Well, his fixtures in the next, 3 of the next 4 are Burnley, Leicester and Watford. So,
he'll be rested for the Watford game.
Yeah, and he'll play in the Chelsea game as well, I'm sure. Okay, right. So I'm going to keep him for at least another 2 or 3 weeks and reassess. I'm currently thinking about getting rid of Sanchez, which is kind of another ridiculous decision that I have to make. 2 players that I kind of thought about 2 weeks ago, I thought, at least I don't have to worry about these 2 because I'll just keep them all season.
Took Sanchez out 1 week and he got 2 goals and assists. So I bought him straight back in again. I was like, I
know, and this is it. If Aguero goes and scores a hat-trick or 4 goals and we've got rid of him, we're all going to be, the next Meet the FFUKers or whenever it is, we're going to be crying. You know, it's like, that's the scary bit. And that's why, James, you can sit there sort of almost smug because you've done it and you don't have to worry about it. Whereas we've got that decision. If we make it and it goes wrong, we're going to look like idiots. And at the moment, you're being proved completely right because there are other choices that are firing. And
I'm back in the midfield, and I think this is where Pete's not backing, perhaps, with his team selection. But I just look at it. Just reminded me that. Do you remember that year? It must have been 4 years ago now, where we first started the league, and it was just dominated by midfielders, scoring midfielders. I'm trying to think of the lad. That was just amazing. Came from nowhere, and it was like a case of putting him in. And it was really cheap, and it cost a little money.
Ben Arthur.
Not Berahino. I'm trying to think who it was now.
Ben Arthur at Newcastle.
No, after that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I just think this is the year for midfielders. I think strikers are struggling. If it's not Costa, you know, he looks strong. He looks like he's going to score every week. So I think you've got to have him in. I'd rather have Costa in every week in a firing Chelsea side than a stutter in Man City side. Plus the fact as well, if I'm going to try and get Aguero back in, I'm going to have to use a game week where I've got 2 free subs. Otherwise, you know what it's like. You can't accommodate without making 2/3 subs to get him back in.
Definitely. Right. Okay. So we've all said that we've all said our piece on Aguero. Let's move on to picking some clean sheets. Have you looked at the fixtures this weekend? Probably, maybe James might not have done yet, but all you other guys, if you looked at your fixtures, it's quite tricky, isn't it? It's quite a tricky week.
So I think there's a few. I kind of look at it and think there's actually a few.
You've got less.
Who have we got?
Who have you picked as your clean sheet pick?
Well, ironically, it kind of links to the same thing. I have actually picked Watford.
Okay.
Alan's suspended for Stoke. We're at home. I think we're looking good. Now we've switched the formation around and changed things around a bit. I think we'll be looking good. I would personally, I'm backing my own team, awful as it sounds. But then I think you could pick from City, Arsenal, Leicester, West Brom, any of them.
Don't take them all. Don't take them all.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Pete, what's your
thank you. I'll take West Brom.
You're going to go for West Brom?
Yeah.
Who are they up against?
Hull. Away.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Yeah, that one.
Absolutely. I've brought in a West Brom defender already.
To play away.
Can we ask which one?
Yeah, I brought in Neon, former Watford player.
No.
He's
Leicester loves him.
He's bloody terrible.
Can you do a quick review of Neon and how he plays?
He's got big gangly legs. He runs a lot. He can't defend for shit. That's about it.
He does get full in the box though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's awful.
I'm interested in whether he plays and whether they get clean sheets. That's all I care about.
You're hoping for a West Brom clean sheet. Okay, Richard, what about you?
It's got to be Arsenal at home for a clean sheet, without a doubt, this week.
And Arsenal home to Bournemouth, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think that's a solid pick. James, what about you? Have you looked at the fixtures, or what about?
Yeah, I'm going 3 at the back this week. I'm going Matip. Obviously, they're at Liverpool at home, Sunderland. I am going to stick with Chelsea keeping a clean sheet against Spurs, and I've brought in a Matt in against Crystal Palace because I fancy him to keep a clean sheet more than I do Kyle Walker against Chelsea. So, yeah, Kyle Walker on the bench for me this week.
Kyle Walker on the bench. Wow. Okay. Okay. My clean sheet pick is going to be. It's funny because I thought, Leicester won't go for Watford. He can't go for Watford.
You got him in head-to-head?
I'm going to get no. We had that. Yeah, we are in the head-to-head this week.
Oh, this week?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we are. Yeah, that's why I sent you that message yesterday.
Oh, you're abusing me.
Yeah. Did you just think that was normal?
Yeah, just perfectly normal week.
My clean sheet pick this week is the team that have had a clean sheet for the last 6 weeks.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Surely they're going to get another one, aren't they? Yeah. They're just no one's even getting a shot in.
Just for my benefit, Chris, I don't follow Chelsea like you. What are they doing formation-wise, and who is it? Is it been a regular back 3 stroke?
So the last. Okay, let's have a little chat about Chelsea if you want. So the last 6 or 7 weeks, Conte's changed the formation. He's gone 3-4-3. He's playing, and basically the two biggest, as far as I can see, the two biggest changes are. 3 biggest changes, let's go for it, are the 2 fullbacks. Moses is playing on the right, and Alonso's playing on the left, and they're basically playing like wingers. So they're obviously good picks. Alonso is a defender, so he gets the clean sheet points. Moses is very cheap. He's 5.7 or something like that.
Yeah, 5.4 or something like that. Yeah, he's cheap.
He's a decent price. And the other thing that's happened is this 3 at the back thing that seems like everyone else is trying to copy us now. This 3 at the back thing has enabled David Luiz to become possibly the best defender in the league at the moment. He's actually been immense in the last 3 or 4 games. He hasn't made a mistake, and all these critics, including Gary Neville, and Gary Neville, if you're watching this now, he always criticised David Luiz for making mistakes and called him a PlayStation defender or something. I can't remember. I'll tell you what, you watch him compared to Gary Cahill, or compared to Ivanovic, or even John Terry now. You watch David Luiz, he makes less mistakes than all of them.
Yes, so, but they have a decent.
He's looked like a different player this season.
I think he's been amazing. I mean, he's come back and he's almost looked like a captain. Weirdly, and he wouldn't have said that.
Good. Why don't you put him in your fantasy team?
Well, I'm seriously considering it. We'll talk about our future transfer plans shortly. So we've picked our clean sheets. Next, we're going to pick an under the radar pick, and then we're going to sort of wrap it up after that by looking at the next game week. So an under the radar pick. Have you got one for us? Let's start with Peter.
Brilliant, because hopefully I'll steal Leicester's. So I'm going to go for Pereira.
Oh, you bitch.
Who Mazzari has moved him into a number 10 role, I believe. Just and he's only playing one up front. He just played Deeney on his own up front.
Have you read my script?
I think he's supposed to be a bit of a player anyway, so I think he might be one to watch.
That is a good pick. I actually think that is a good pick, and it's even better because Leicester clearly had it as his pick. So, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to come to Leicester straight away, so you can think of another one. I'm going to come to Richard. Richard, have you got who's your under the radar pick?
This.
Oh, sorry, we missed that. What did you say?
Has he gone?
Who's in?
Oh, hello.
He's on that cheap broadband provider.
Yeah.
Leicester.
He's on Plus now.
No, Richard.
That's Richard.
Have you found gone, Richard? Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Leicester, who's your under the radar pick?
Sure. Well, actually, he wasn't the first name written down. He's a bit less under the radar, but I just, to be fair, think he's going to be excellent from week 15 onwards. Is Sigurdsson. In a crap team, he consistently takes the set pieces, takes the penalties, gets the assists, gets the goals. I think for consistent points, he's one I'm considering from probably after the Spurs game onwards.
Cool. Okay. James, anyone you're considering at the moment bringing in?
I tell you, we touched on it earlier. I was really impressed with West Brom the other night. They moved the ball really well, and they got bodies in the box. And that Phillips, who's only 5.1 million, I was really, really tempted to put him in because he's so busy, but he's busy in the right areas. He's quite direct. So I'm quite interested to see how they get on because I actually enjoyed watching West Brom play, which normally it's just crap long ball rubbish. But yeah, I'm going to look out for Phillips for West Brom.
Yeah, I think West Brom's a good pick. I mean, they were really impressive. I know Burnley aren't the best side in the world, but you think they're not the easiest side in the world as well. So
yeah.
There are a few at West Brom. Brunt is one. Nyom's obviously one for a cheapie. Brunt is definitely one. And Rondon looked really good the other night. I thought he looked really powerful and strong. And yeah, so I think West Brom, there's some options there. I've got a couple of other ones. I think someone who you've put in actually, James, is a good pick, but there is an obvious risk with them. Giroud. I think Giroud is a good pick because Arsenal have got some amazing fixtures coming up. He kind of is just about coming back at the right time. He kind of keeps scoring every time he plays. You know, what's not to like? And also, I think Sanchez is so easy. He can so easily be moved out to the left, and he's still effective. But Giroud is going to come back at some point. I would rather have Giroud than Walcott, and I see people with Walcott in their side. I'd rather have Giroud than Walcott personally.
Yeah, that's the reason why I put Giroud in. Just the next 3 weeks, basically. I looked at it, and they've got Bournemouth at home on Sunday. Next week they've got West Ham. They always beat West Ham. And then the following week they're at home against Stoke. I just thought he's bound to score me 2 or 3 goals out of those 3 games.
You'd absolutely hope so. So I mentioned Rondon, and the other one who I've looked at, who might be an option, is a Chelsea player who at the moment isn't going to get dropped. Is Pedro. He's playing, I mean, Hazard's an obvious one, but Pedro hasn't really been talked about. He's quite reasonable price. Pete, what price is Pedro? You know,
7.2.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. 7.2, and we'll go with that. Let's see. We'll see afterwards if that is correct. But yeah, 7.2. He is a bargain. In absolute bargain. He's basically playing. It's sort of inside right. I think they used to call it. Our dads would have called it inside right as a position. He's basically playing there, and it kind of suits him because he doesn't have to do any defending. Exactly like Hazard. Oh my God, James is getting scary there. Okay, so
just leaving the office.
His rapey face is on.
Okay, so we're right. We've talked about some under the radar picks. Let's look ahead to the game week 13 and talk about what our plans are if we've decided what we're doing, who our captain's going to be, and how we're set up. Really, Peter, I'm going to come to you again first.
Okay, cool. I've got a bit of a dilemma. James mentioned it earlier, so deliberating about whether to play Kyle Walker. I probably will play Kyle Walker against Chelsea and hope that it's either a ball draw, which is unlikely, or that Walker manages some assist points, possibly.
Do they look likely though at the moment, mate? What did you watch Spurs the other night?
I just can't bench 6 million defender. Basically, I'm not going to play. I could play Francis, who's away to Arsenal, and
well,
I think
he was your best player last week.
I think Bournemouth might give him a bit of a game, and I don't think it's a given by any means. It's not necessarily going to be a thrashing.
I think it could be, but yeah. Okay, so
any game could be.
You're all set, are you? You're all set.
I'm set. I've got Coutinho captain.
Nice.
Against Sunderland. I'm hoping that Liverpool score some goals.
Okay.
I think he'll be in them if they do. So
lovely. All right. Leicester, what about you? How are you set for game week 13?
As I was saying earlier, I'm set as a bit of a dilemma. I'm sitting on potentially 3 transfers, but then my sensible head is trying to keep me in line and do no transfers. I'm a bit like Pete just said. I'm sitting on a couple of defenders who are too expensive, but I don't really want to play this week. But I've got no option apart from playing them. Realistically, I think I'm probably going to try and be sensible, make no changes, stay as I am, keep the 2 subs for next week when Aguero's going.
And who are you captaining?
Good job.
It's currently sitting on Coutinho, but vice captain is Aguero, so I can't decide between the 2. Coutinho, if he scores, points from a midfielder is much better than a striker, so
it is.
That's probably where it'll go.
I think so many people have their captains on like Coutinho or Sanchez or Lallana or whoever you want it on, and then by the weekend you're like, I've got to put it on Aguero. If you've got Aguero and he's playing Burnley, everyone's got it on Aguero. I'm sorry, they do.
And that's the problem. But as soon as she's gone from your team, it frees everything up.
Well, unfortunately, we've discussed that. That's good. Okay, James seems to be flickering in and out of action.
I'm just charging up. Hang on.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm going to talk about my game week. So for me, I'm going to captain Aguero. I've got to. I'm not going to make a transfer if I can avoid it, which Pete will love because he loves it when I save a transfer. And that's kind of really boring, but that's kind of how my team looks all right this weekend, except for I've got 5 players playing in the Liverpool-Sunderland game, which means I either want, I just want a goal fest with the right players scoring and Pickford getting a shitload of save points, please. So that's my request. That's how I'm looking. James, what about you? What about game week 13? Have you decided Liverpool looks strong? You're obviously going to...
Yeah, I'm going to back same as Pete, going with Coutinho. They're just looking amazing at the moment in terms of, especially at home. And everything seems to go through Coutinho, even stuff that comes back on the edge of the area. They're looking to get him in. So I would like to think that Liverpool will win comfortably and Coutinho will get some points on the weekend.
Okay, making any transfers?
Well, I did. Obviously, I've made 3. I think I put those on the group.
Oh, you have already.
I had 2 free subs anyway, but I've gone -4 to get the 3 players in that I wanted in. So I took out Sterling because he's just been absolute muck for the last 6 weeks. I just thought he's bound to do something soon, but he's not doing it. So hence Giroud coming in, Matic for Chelsea coming in, and obviously Lallana was going out. So Coutinho in and Coutinho captain.
Lovely. Okay. Right. Well, we've our time has obviously flown. And we've actually been on air for I think 40 minutes. So
this is TV program.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks Lester. Thanks James, and also thanks to Richard as well, who's disappeared off. Probably just watching now online with everyone else, with all the other millions. But yeah, thanks guys, and let's wrap it up.
Chris, can I just say one thing?
Of course you can, mate.
Can I just say what an excellent job you and Pete are doing. It does make it much more fun with obviously everything that you guys do. And, clearly there's a lot of people that just love football, and I'm one of those people. And doing the fantasy football with you guys in it makes it even more enjoyable. So well done, boys. Good job, yeah?
Thank you, James. Thank you. That's lovely. I'll get you a better Christmas present now, right?
Give it that strap on, hey, Chris.
Absolutely. Right. Cheers, boys. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Lester. And thanks,
thanks JP for that. Thank you, Lester.
Cheers. Take care.
Boys.
Yeah, see you later. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.